Looks good.
Cool. I have to settle that.
You guys, I'm here with Cooper today. Part 4 of my series, PD That Doesn't Suck, working title. I am here today with the one and only Mandy Kelly from Kelly's Classroom, ladies and gentlemen. Today, and Cooper. He was calm just a second ago, just sitting there. We are here in Orange County, California. And Mandy, what are you going to do for us today?
So I'm going to do a couple fun lessons that you can throw in at any moment to work with your students on growth mindset and creativity.
Creativity. So is this designed to like raise the DOK level for these kids to like from a 1 to a 4?
It's actually more just, I mean, to me, I really want students to start thinking outside the box. And I feel like with so much emphasis on, trying to teach them to think creatively and give students choice and take initiative themselves.
Yeah.
And that's really hard for students because they're used to like, well, I do what I'm told. I do, the projects that I'm assigned. And so I really want students to learn to think outside the box and think creatively. Go outside.
So you guys, really, I want you to think about this. The whole premise of this whole series is low prep, high yield strategies for you guys, because that's really what you need right now during this time. Right before I pushed play or record, I was like, I'm living the same day over and over and over. And you're like, I can totally identify with that. And teachers out there, I'm sure you guys can identify. Actually, probably anybody could relate to that. But what, like, our schools are not, they don't get it. They are giving us these trainings and professional development that just, like, we're like, you're wasting our time. We don't have time for this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to give you guys something that you can use right away tomorrow that will yield these incredible results for you without having to prep a lot. So that's how we got here today.
Yes.
Okay? So where do we start with
All
this?
right,
What do we
so,
need, first of all?
I always start with this index card challenge.
Okay.
I do it every year at the beginning of the year. One is because it gets students frustrated, and that's kind of where I want to kick them off. I want them to feel frustration. I want them to feel uncomfortable so that they know that it's okay. That's part of school.
Yeah. You know what? If you're a new teacher, this is a great lesson for you because you don't want everybody to get it. That's not what you want when you first roll something out and it's like easy for everybody. You're like, you miss the mark if everybody gets it right off the bat, right?
Absolutely. And so this one is always really fun to do. And it's great because you can do it with distance learning. All they need is a piece of paper and a pencil. So I'm gonna give you, or a piece of paper and a pair of scissors.
Oh, scissors.
Yeah, sorry.
I have to say these are not as fancy
I don't have fancy Nancy's scissors. I know. I'm a crafter, but not like Nancy level crafting. So
these are regular scissors.
Sorry, regular scissors here. At least I didn't get my kids' scissors.
Yeah, some Fiskars.
So all they need is a piece of paper.
Okay.
And I'll give you that one. I'll take this one. And so they take the paper and they're gonna fold it in half.
Here we go, hamburger style, everybody.
Yep, and then fold it hot dog as well.
Oh, hot dog? No, you didn't do hot dog. You did 2 hamburgers.
Hamburger. Oh, you can open it and go hot dog too. Either way, you need 4 squares.
Okay, gotcha. 4 squares.
You need 4 squares.
4 squares.
And then we're gonna cut them.
4 squares.
Like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not.
Okay, so they're.
You don't have to worry about it being perfectly straight or anything.
Well, when I was in Fancy Nancy's class, she said they have to be perfect.
This does not. Basically, they just need 4 pieces of paper, 4 little rectangles.
Okay, I'm with you.
And so with this, I tell them that they have 4 papers, so now they have 4 chances to try to solve the project or the puzzle here.
Okay, so tell me how you're rolling this thing out. Like, is there anything before?
We don't do anything ahead of time. I let them know, hey, I've got this fun puzzle. I want you to recreate what I make.
Okay.
And they're like, okay. So they get a piece of paper.
And you teach 6th grade?
6th grade.
So
I've done this 4th grade, 3rd grade. Even, sometimes you'd be surprised that, like, the younger kids, they figure it out faster than the older kids because they're more open to that.
I know, yeah. Okay.
So as long as they're okay with a pair of scissors.
Any grade with the pair of scissors.
And I will say, even not just going young, I've done this, like my dad sat forever trying to figure this out. My husband tried figuring this out.
It's good for seniors
I
too.
love getting parents involved too.
I love it.
So I just tell them, you've cut it, you've got 4 pieces of paper. Then I give them this. I put this out in front of them and I tell them, when I'm in class, I have a couple of these around the room.
Okay.
When I'm distance, because I did this distance learning with my students at the beginning of this year, all I did was I put this in front of the camera and let them look at it, but I also made a video of me kind of going from all angles and sent that out to them so they could keep hitting play.
Okay.
Because you don't want them to touch it. They're not allowed to touch.
Sorry, I got to show it to you guys.
So that's what they are trying to recreate. And I love that so many of the students can go, oh, that's easy, right off the bat. Which that to me is like, easy is a 4-letter word in the classroom.
Yeah. Come on, kid. All right.
So I put these around the room and I put up a timer and I let them just try and figure it out.
What are we figuring?
They have to, so you have this piece of paper, one of these squares to recreate this.
Gotcha.
So that's what.
But you cannot touch it.
You can't touch it. You can look at it, look from all angles.
Is it the same size paper?
Same size paper. And I didn't do it. There's no tape involved. It's a paper and a pair of scissors.
I can tell you right now, this is not easy. This one piece, right? How did you do that?
And so while Darin's figuring it out, or attempting
you guys,
to,
there's the piece sticking up.
It doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense.
And so what happens is, while the students are doing this, and in class I've let them work in pairs, I've let them do it individually, distance learning, they're doing it on their own. But I'm just walking around with a piece of paper or listening with a piece of paper and I write down phrases that I hear. And I love it because the students start with like, oh, this is easy. Oh, I got this. Oh, this is exciting. And they're really into it. And about like the 2 or 3 minute mark, I start hearing like, this is impossible. I can't do this.
This is impossible.
This isn't going to work. And then a student will figure it out and it's like, oh, they probably cheated. Or, well, if they figured it out there, I can't do it.
I got to show this to you again because I don't feel like I showed you the right part. So see that right there? And then look on the other side. Okay, I'm back.
So this is I always start it, and it's so great because as the students are trying to figure it out and they're going through their first piece of paper and they cut it and they're like, nope, that's not it, and they try another one. And
so what is your objective?
Just walking. So what I love doing is at the end of the 5 minutes. Then I sit and I tell them I'm not going to show you the answer just yet, and I just read. I said I want you to hear the phrases that I heard as we went through it.
Okay.
And I just start reading them aloud. And I don't say who said what. I just start reading the phrases. And it's so funny because it starts with like, I got this. This is so exciting. Ooh, how fun. Oh, let me try again. Oh, I'm so close. Are you
charting this anywhere? Or
I just have a piece of paper writing it down as they're working.
Okay.
And then they start to hear like, okay, I give up. This is impossible. I'm never going to figure this out. I quit. And it's so funny to see their faces and all of a sudden they go.
You're right. I bet like the youngers are like, it's completely opposite, right? Like the older kids are like, that's so easy. And then they're like, I quit.
Yeah. And it's amazing how many of them by the end of the 5 minutes quit. And so we go through this whole thing. Yeah. So we go through this whole lesson. And as I'm reading it, they kind of like get a little like, oh, that was me that said that. Oh, I did quit. Oh, I did. And so we talk about like what happened about halfway through. And they were like, well, our mindset shifted and we were excited. We were persevering through it. And all of a sudden, once we realized like this is harder than we thought, we all quit. And that's the purpose of this introduction lesson, is to show them that they do have that mind frame. Because we can tell them like, oh, have a growth mindset. But you have to show them like, no, we have work to do. You quit halfway through on something that is this. Imagine, you know, when you start getting a more challenging math problem, more challenging writing problems, and you quit after 3 minutes. And so it's really trying to show them like, no, we all have that mind frame. So rather than me tell you, I'm going to show you that we do have a little bit of that closed off mind frame that we need to work on and persevere.
I love this, you guys.
So that's our first challenge. And I won't hold you much longer.
A piece of paper and scissors. How hard is that?
And it's great to refer back to throughout the year. When we start doing like, you know, 6th grade math is it's a beast. And so as we start going through some of these more difficult things, like keep reminding them, guys, remember that index card. Like 3 minutes in and you guys were done. Like we can't do that with this math. Like it's gonna be challenging. We're gonna have to work through it. We're gonna have to persevere, think outside the box, just like we did here.
Yes.
All right, I won't hold you much longer. I'll show you how to do it.
No, don't show me.
No? You don't want to know yet?
Can I try?
Can I do it at the end? Yeah. Please, figure it out. There's your scissors, your paper. I'll give you some time.
You guys.
And like I said, please, like parents get involved as well. After I show students, I have them go home and try it with their parents. And I have parents messaging me like, okay, how do you do it? I can't do it.
Okay, this is my guess right here. Am I close?
You're missing a cut. I'll tell you that.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Am I missing 2 cuts?
No.
Really? Just one? If I get this on the first try, Mrs. Kelly, if I get this first try,
you're taking over.
I'm going to the next level, you guys. Next level. Nope. That was not it. That was not it. But I think I was close. Hold on, I think I got it.
Okay, but see, that's what you write down. You write down when they're like, oh, I was close. Hold on, don't tell me yet. I want to figure this out. And those are the things that you write down because you want them to hear that at the beginning. And then at the end when it's like, I quit.
Don't tell me, don't tell me.
I won't tell you. I'll leave you in suspense till the very end if you want.
Okay, it's gotta be this side over here. What is going on here? Okay, read this. If I get it here, wait, only that part's gonna show up there. If I put it over here.
So if you do this in the classroom, you want multiple of these around the room because it's really hard to have 35 students all trying to look at this closely. So I do try to put them like 5 or 6 of them all around the room, but don't let them touch it.
I don't know how to do this. Okay, don't tell me. I'm gonna keep thinking.
Okay.
Let's move on.
So we'll move on.
I have 2 more tries.
That's right. We'll leave you in suspense a little bit longer.
This one I still think I could.
You can't salvage that one either.
Okay.
All right, so this is the first one that I always start with, just to start getting them to like try, persevere,
You're gonna have to wait.
push through.
You're gonna have to wait.
Make you wait a little bit. Okay, so then the next challenge that I do, I do this. What I love about this is that you could do this once a month. You could do this if you've got 5 minutes of a little extra time. If you want to do some team building, this
I'm
is
having
really
a hard
good
time
too.
concentrating.
I know.
on this.
You're just thinking about
Yes, I'm thinking of this right now. It doesn't make any sense, you guys. It really doesn't. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to show you?
No.
Are you sure?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll wait till the end.
Okay.
It'll make them want to wait too.
So then, so this next one we do their creativity challenges. And so every month, sitting in their groups, you can put them in breakout rooms if you're doing distance learning, but you just pick an object. So start with a paper clip. And I just go around, I put a paper clip on each desk.
Where did you get these things from? Just
I don't know.
here and there?
So I'm a really I love creativity and, I love puzzles. Like Legos are my jam. Like that is, Legos and building IKEA furniture are my favorite things in the world to do. So I love this building, constructing and creating.
Yeah.
And I really want students to have that too.
Yeah.
And I used to always laugh because when I'd say okay, you come up with something. Like, well, what does it need to be? I was like, whatever you want it to be. And I noticed one of my very first years teaching, I did a project with my 6th graders. And I remember we had read this article and the kids were really passionate about it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make them uncomfortable because I think that students need to be uncomfortable. And I said, we read about this really unfair law in another country and the kids were really upset about it. I was like, okay, your project, I'm the local government. Convince me to get rid of it. Okay. And they were like, well, is it an essay? I'm like, sure. Is it a video? Is it a PowerPoint? What is it supposed to be? I was like, just convince me. Well, how many pages? Until you think I'm thoroughly convinced. And they were so mad at me because they just wanted...
That's the worst question to get is, well, how long does this need to be?
Yes. How many paragraphs? How many sentences?
Yeah.
And
I always say, well, is that going to change the effort that you put into it? Because then there's no answer.
Yeah, it's true. And that's what they're used to. They're used to this rubric of a checklist.
Right.
And it always drove me nuts because I was like, well, you're limiting yourself to the checklist.
For sure.
And I remember they were not happy with me for a solid hour that day. And then I just was like, okay, just what would you do? You guys are all passionate about this, so what would you do? And a week later when they turned it in, I had some of the most amazing things. I had, fake newspaper articles, interviews. I had one student who showed the issue with the law just in pictures. Had a whole wall of photographs about all of the impacts of it.
Wow.
And I was like, do you guys see when there's no checklist for you, what you can come up with?
Yeah.
And so I've always tried to really push my students to be creative, to think outside when they can. Because I think that's kind of where the world is taking us.
By the time you get them in 6th grade, though, you have those kids who will not persevere, right? Mm-hmm. They're just like, I quit. Mm-hmm. What do you do with those guys?
It's giving them little opportunities. Finding, one is those choice boards are really good to help them because it's a structured choice. So starting to see that it's not a one size fits all, but they don't have to think of something from scratch.
Right.
So once you kind of start
choice boards are
giving them
differentiated for that reason.
Yeah, for example, we just finished reading a novel and their final project, they've got 8 different projects that they can choose from. Some are, some can just be a simple essay, some rewrite the ending, some are fake interviews, write a song. What would the soundtrack be for this song or for this story? And so it's, and as you do it, you explain okay, those of you who are really interested in music, look at some of these projects. Those of you who are really interested in theater, look at these projects. So it's kind of showing them identify what it is that you're good at or that you're passionate about, and how can I use my strength there to demonstrate my understanding. And so I really try to throw these creativity things because I want them to start thinking. And I'm always like, okay, here's the projects I came up with. If you have another one, let me know.
Yeah.
Tell me what idea you have. And I love when they come okay, I have an idea. Can I do this instead? Yes, absolutely. Right. So that's what you really want them to do is to try to be creative and it's, think outside. What
a transitional period too, because I went from 4th grade up to middle school, and it was the saddest thing because by the time they're in middle school, they've lost all the wonder. It's been hammered out of them. Mm-hmm. So I love that.
Yeah.
Is 6th grade middle school for you guys?
For us, it's elementary school. And I I love 6th grade in general. It's funny because I used to teach 4th grade, and when I was asked, hey, will you teach 6th grade? We have an opening. And I was like, no, absolutely not. They're
not
taller than me. Yeah. They're sarcastic. No, I'm not doing it. And because I had a math background, I said I would give it a year. I said, I'll do it for a year. And at the end of the year, I was in love. And I was like, you're going to have to kick me out because I love the sixth graders. And it's definitely like, you have to love them. But it's such a great age because they are, you know, kind of starting to discover and, you know, find who they are, find out their identity, and it's a really fun age, but it's also a really influential age.
For sure.
So giving them these times to just be
awesome.
Creative is a really important thing.
Yeah.
All right, so with the creativity challenges, all you do is find a random object, which again, super low prep, you know, grab a paper clip.
Doesn't get much lower.
And so I
prep
put a
than
paper
that.
clip in front of them, and I tell them as a group, their challenge is to write down all the things that you can do with a paper clip. If I open it, if I bend it, what are all the things that I can do with a paper clip? And I like doing this multiple times because that very first one, you get like, I can clip papers. And they can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
And they're working on it, so they're just writing down as many ideas as they can as a group. And I went to a training, so when you're done, they kind of tally up how many ideas they came up with.
Yeah.
And I went to a training years ago, and there was a teacher who was talking about creativity. And I'll never forget, he said that creativity has two parts. One is the ability to generate ideas, so how many different things you could come up with. But the other one is the uniqueness of those ideas. And so that's what I tell the students. I said, there's two different things. One is you could have someone who comes up with tons of ideas, but they're all things that someone else came up with.
Yeah.
You can have someone who only thought of one thing, but it is something no one else thought of. And both of those are creative.
Yeah.
Both of those are aspects of creativity.
Do you know who it was? Do you remember?
I don't. I remember...
It was in your district?
It was Orange County. So it was it was one of the Orange County trainings that I went to. I don't remember, so if you know, please, I would love to give him credit. But it stuck with me. And so we started doing these challenges. So after you give them the time to come up with what can you do with a paper clip, then they sit and they count how many they have. And then they also, as a group, decide what's the most unique idea that we came up with. And so then we go around and we share, and then we talk about, like, okay, which group had the most ideas, but which group had one that nobody else thought of. And so you do that once a month with different objects.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm going to challenge you.
You guys.
Again.
This is an exercise in out-of-the-box thinking, right? All these ideas, and then there's this idea.
Yes.
I love it.
So I am going to challenge you again.
Okay. What, pencil.
Paper. That's all you need. And so
this is my folder paper.
I'll give you. I have more. I have more
kidding.
paper.
All right.
It's okay.
What am I writing? I mean,
what could I do with a paper clip? So just
paper clip?
Paper clip. You
Oh
got. We'll do a minute. A minute. All the things you can think of to do with a paper clip.
I didn't know I was going to put on the spot.
I'm making you work today.
Well, I can, for one, clip papers.
Yeah.
And two, I can pick a lock.
That's impressive.
I can, I can, how do you say this? I can, on my way over here, you can rescue your Burt's Bees from between the seats. Okay, let's see. I'm on 4. What else can you do? You can make a fish hook. I went fishing before I came to see you.
Oh.
Caught nothing, by the way.
Because you needed a paper clip.
I didn't go with paper clip hooks. Oh, you know what you can do? You can hang Christmas ornaments.
All right, I'll only make you go to 5.
Okay.
But so it's really fun to hear students, I can string them together and make a necklace.
Yeah.
I can glue them to the back of a picture and hang it. So they get really creative.
Kids are not used to thinking for themselves. Mm-hmm. They're used to you guys thinking for them. Think about that. Okay, when you guys are doing lessons, you have this objective, right? And you're you're trying everything you can to get them here. So, like, they lose this right here.
And that's why it's important to, that very first time that you do it, they will struggle. Like, it's a paperclip. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
And as they start to hear some other ideas and you kind of help them through it, it's amazing. By the end of the year, I put a water, this is, you know, what can I do with a water bottle? And they will come up with all kinds of ideas. I can, you know, poke holes and I can use it as a sprinkler. I can cut it in half and store pencils in it. Like, they start to really thinking about it, and it's fun because even throughout the year, like,
can you remember any of like the most wild ideas you've ever thought of?
I had one like with a milk jug that you could cut it, and then like the handle became something that you could like go around and carry, or you could put plants in it and make a pot. I've had some students that like throughout the year, I'll be drinking a water bottle and they're like, I had an idea you could do. And so it's fun because then they start like looking at things differently.
For sure.
And so I just love doing those creativity challenges. It's great for bonding too, like, you know, building that class rapport with each other. But so just,
do any problems arise from these?
No, I mean, sometimes, especially 6th grade, I have to be like, okay, school appropriate. Like, the paperclip is not going to be open and used, like, to, you know, I've had a kid like, oh, you can shank peel. I was like, no, like, school appropriate use of these objects. But really,
did you see my post the other day about the kids that set up a beer pong? And they're like, this is the moment when a parent conference was scheduled.
Yep. And that's, you'd be surprised. I've seen like with that 100th day, like, you know, a lot of teachers doing, what do I say 100 times? First of all, I'd be terrified to do that with my 6th graders, because they would probably be like, she says school appropriate all the time. Because as I'm giving them their freedom, I also have to be like, school appropriate.
This is not boundless. There is a line. We cannot
that's literally the only challenge I've ever had with these. But the biggest challenge is those that really struggle at the beginning. And that's why it's important to do these. And it takes 5 minutes.
You ever had a kid cry?
But I have not. I've had some that are just like, I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything. And having them work with groups is really good because they'll start to hear some ideas. And like, all you need to do right now is just listen. Listen to some of those ideas and start thinking. Yeah. And then like, okay, by the second time, just try to contribute one. Like, think of one idea. Or you can even tell them ahead of time.
So
like,
are they making a list as a group? Or
as a group,
Okay.
As a group. You can do it individually too. I like doing it as a group. If you do have some of those that really struggle, you could even like, okay, next week is going to be a paperclip. Start thinking. You get a little bit of a head start. And that might help too, because then they can come to the table with something. Yeah. So that's a second creativity challenge.
Okay.
Then the last thing is once their juices are kind of
This is a
flowing,
3 for...
It is.
Come on.
It's 3.
You guys. This is added bonus here. Gift with purchase.
So once you feel like they're kind of used to this whole outside of the box thinking, then you can do a this is not a activity.
Okay.
And this actually was inspired by my husband and I's first year of marriage. We just got married.
This should be good.
We just moved in to our first place, and you know we had like
it wasn't
nothing.
Here in the model home.
It was.
You guys,
not.
Every teacher that I interview lives in a model home.
No.
Yeah.
And so we were newlyweds who had like nothing, and we wanted to do like some date nights, cooking at home. And our very first one, we were like, oh, we're gonna make homemade pasta. And so we looked up the recipes, we made the dough, and then it was like, okay, roll it out. And we realized we don't have a rolling pin.
This thing or the...
Well, we ended up not having either.
Oh, you didn't either. Whoa.
We didn't even have a rolling pin.
I feel some lasagna happening here.
So we like walked around the house looking for something, and he found a bottle and was like, this is now a rolling pin. And so we used that. We had really thick pasta that night. It was chunky. But it was so fun.
That's awesome.
Then, a couple weeks later, we wanted, it was going to be taco night. We were going to make our own tortillas.
Oh, you didn't learn from the pasta.
We didn't. We made the dough, or the I don't know what you call it, tortilla dough.
Yeah.
And we went to like press it. We don't have a tortilla press either. And I was like, oh, what are we going to do?
Doesn't everybody have a tortilla
Totally,
press?
right?
Come on.
And so we again look around the room and I was like, we have a stack of books. And so we literally stacked like a couple books,
Nice.
put the tortilla dough inside, like in between, put more books, and then jumped on it. And that was our tortilla press.
Yes.
And again, a little thick, those tortillas, but it was really fun.
That's great.
And then I will say our like first Christmas together, my gift to him was an actual pasta roller and a tortilla press.
Not as fun though, I bet.
It was not as fun. And so that was kind of the start for this, like, this is not a.
Oh,
and so
okay.
once they're you feel like they're getting creative, you put something in front of them. It can be, a towel. It can be whatever it is, and you tell them like, okay, here's a towel. This is not a towel.
Oh, okay.
So then they have to write what it is, and they're basically writing their like elevator pitch to each other.
Okay.
About like, this is not a towel. It is it is a on-the-go cape for people of all sizes. All you need to do is wrap it around your neck, and you are instantly transformed into your favorite superhero, whatever it is. And so this one is focused more on that one good idea.
Yeah.
And so they pick, this is not a purse. It is what is it?
I love that.
And they have to kind of like write it out and sell it to each other. And when they present, like, you're like, hey, you're selling it.
So walk me through how you would pull this off in class.
I would literally put something in front of them, okay.
This is not a pencil.
And I would say, this is not a pencil. And I just let them like sit and look at you.
The first time you do this, they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm like, this is not a pencil. Yeah, it is. Like, no, this is not a pencil. This is a magician's favorite tool, because all of a sudden it can become rubber, and you can like, and so you have to model it that first time.
Okay.
And this is not something that I would start like the beginning of the year. This is once kind of you've built that creativity and it helps them start to think outside the box. So you definitely want to kind of give them an example the first time. And then I do, again, like to let them work in groups first time, especially to kind of help like build off of each other. No, it could be this. Or what if we did this? Oh, we could combine those and think of this. And so, and then just say, okay, you're going to have a minute to present this to your class. Get ready, like write your elevator pitch. You have 30 seconds to present it. And that's when you get like those kids who maybe didn't come up with the most creative idea, but they can sell anything.
Yeah, love it.
And so that's kind of like the ultimate goal that you want them to get to is like, okay, this is not a pair of scissors. Don't do scissors though, because that could take you in very dangerous places.
You don't want to go there.
But just, this is not a candle. What is it? And let them think. And this one is hard. It's really hard to come up with something because your brain just wants to go with what it's used for.
Yeah, of course. Again,
Yeah. and it's really like, it is uncomfortable. Even myself, I was like, some objects I put out and I'm like, I can't think of anything.
You must be really good in escape rooms.
I love escape. So I actually, there was a website, I don't remember, I don't know if it was like, Cool Games, or it was like some website that I was obsessed with in high school that were escape rooms. And it was before like real escape rooms were popular. And it was like these, computer games where you were in a virtual room and you would click things and have to put them together and escape the room. And that's all I would do.
Okay.
All day long.
So we're gonna get Nancy and Jill, and we'll get Courtney too.
Okay.
And we'll go to an escape room.
Yes.
But you're gonna be on my team.
Okay. Seriously, that's my family. We do escape rooms all the time. We do them for birthdays. We go to escape rooms, and it's really fun. And as much as like I think like that, my husband does too. So when we're together, when we're together, it's so fun.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So I was obsessed with like I loved escape rooms before they were cool, before they were a thing.
Okay, noted.
And so, yeah, I love looking at things and being like, how could I put that together?
Yeah.
Like, you know, MacGyver
I do know this
and all
about
of that.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
So those are my creativity challenges.
love it.
Start with this one to start
We don't
showing
know
them.
how to do
I
that
haven't
one
shown
yet.
you yet, but this is a great way to start getting them to feel uncomfortable. And then the little mini challenges, the creativity challenges. What can you do with a paperclip? What can you do with a pencil? What can you do with a water bottle? Start to kind of get their juices flowing. Once you feel like they're good at thinking outside the box, then you can do the this is not a. So it's you know, you could throw them in to any, you know,
The
lesson
point
in a
is
day.
to make your kids uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
You don't want to ask a question. The best teachers ask questions that there's no answer to. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
And if you guys ask a question and everybody goes like this, like it's the wrong question, man. Yeah.
Well, and especially being like total math nerd here, and I remember when I was in my master's program, I read this article about and I can't cite the source, I don't remember, but it was about this group that was looking at perseverance in kids. And so they created an impossible math problem and they gave it to kids from all over the world. And when I was reading through like the results, and the kids from the United States like gave up instantly.
Yeah.
And it crushed me. And I share this with my students too. I was like, guys, don't be that. Like, you can't be crushed. And so a lot of times, like, I'll give them problems. And I'll be like, okay, I want you to plan how you would solve it. So they'll plan it all out. I'm like, okay, moving on. Like, you don't want the answer? Nope, I don't even want the answer. And doing that, like, gets them uncomfortable. I'm like, it's not about an easy answer. It's not about solving it at the end. It's about the process. It's about trying to figure things out, not the end result.
Yeah.
And so, you know, do that in math. Tell them, plan it. Come up with multiple strategies, but don't even tackle the answer and move on. And it's those little uncomfortable moments that you really want to start building.
Yeah. I bet the parents love that. What is this new math you're teaching
right?
with no answers? I don't know how to help them.
Yep, absolutely. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. When you finally show the answer, it's good to have something that's different on both sides. So I like to use the index cards with the lines.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you your original paper.
I have my paper.
Okay. And then there's your scissors. And here's mine. Is that me or you?
That's you.
Okay. And then you'll fold it.
Oh, wait.
Just push the button on the side.
We have someone calling.
Awesome.
You sure?
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to take your paper. Oh, here, do this one. That's your creativity stuff. So you're going to take this and you're going to fold it in half. Hot dog.
Hot dog? Yes, hot
Yes,
dog. Okay.
hot dog.
I'm with you.
He's questioning. Okay, then open it back up. And on one side, you're going to do one cut in the middle. One cut in the center just to the fold.
Okay.
Then you're going to turn it over. On the other side, you're going to cut it into thirds, but just to the fold.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it. It's those 3 cuts. Now hold your paper like this. I know. Hold your paper just like this. And all you're going to do is one hand flip. So then, now that you flipped it,
Yeah?
now wherever
Did I do
like
it?
this thing is, that's going to be, fold the others up.
I did it!
So you'll flip it.
I did it!
And wherever this big piece is, you want to fold the other parts down so that it's by itself. And it's that
Did I
one
do it?
wrist flip. Yeah, that's it. So then like put it down and now you have it.
Oh my goodness. This is in when I get home.
Yep, just like it's serious.
She'll give up
Like-
right away. Any bets on this?
Oh, and it's so funny to hear students, because once I show them, I tell them to go home and challenge their parents. And
I'm
it's
gonna
so
keep this
funny for
forever.
students that show up and they're like, my mom quit after like one try.
Try. Oh my gosh, it was the flip.
It's a one, but when you show them, when you have the samples out, don't use lined ones because then you can see that
Right,
it's a
yeah,
flip.
yeah.
So you only want to use like a lined one when you're showing the answer.
Got it.
But that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Are you
I
exhausted?
didn't know that this interview was going to be this emotionally taxing. Thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome.
on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, this was so great. You guys, low prep. Come on, it doesn't get much more lower than that. High yield. This is like exponentially oh my gosh, the yield on this. You guys, I bet a lot of you are thinking right now, oh, I could use this for this. I can do this for this. This is going to totally help this. This would be great, like, before you did something that required, some creative.
A lot of challenge, a lot of perseverance. And so, I mean, and it's great. No matter if you're a single subject teacher, this has nothing to do with it. You can still do this because perseverance, creativity is part of every subject area.
Did you ever have anybody get it like right away?
Mm-hmm. I had a student accidentally figure it out, and it crushed me because I was like, "No, you're supposed to struggle." And I had a student who literally cut it and was like this, and was like, oh, "I figured it out." I was like, "No, you didn't." And I'm like trying to
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it's fun. And then honestly, once someone figures it out, it's even better. Like those things that you're writing down, because it gets the kids angry. They're like, how did he figure it out? There's no way.
For sure.
But yeah, so I really try to get students to
love it.
branch out.
How often do you do these kinds of things?
So this, you can only really do it once.
Right.
So this I always do at the beginning of the year. The creativity challenges, I try for once a month. I was really good at that last year. I'm sorry, this year's students, because it's been tough fitting things in. So it was actually a lot easier to do this when we were distance learning. Hybrid, because we have such a tight schedule. I try to still throw it in once a month, once every other month. If you've got like 5 minutes, you finish early. You're like, what can you do with a pencil? And just throw it out there and say, and just start writing. So it's nice because you can do it on the fly.
Yeah.
As long as you have, it's one of those tools that you can just fill time, but in a purposeful way.
Gosh, super low stakes too, right? When you think about those kids that are so self-conscious, right? Mm-hmm. Such a fixed mindset.
Yeah, and it's it's a fun way of pushing them outside. And if they can't think of anything, it's okay.
Yeah.
You hope that eventually that they can. And as they start hearing some of their really creative classmates that are coming up with things, then they start to kind of like, okay, as I look around things, during dinner, I'm gonna be like, this is not a fork. This is, and my total love of Ariel is gonna come out like, this is a brush. And so it's just like they start to just naturally start looking at things like, this is not.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so what kind of PD would you like to see?
I mean, for me, a PD is the best way to come up with or to determine if a PD is successful is if I can take something and use it tomorrow. And that's always been, as I've attended PDs, as I've put on professional development, that's always been like my first thought is what can they take tomorrow?
Yeah.
So I love, all of these, big picture thinking, changing your way of teaching. But if you're going to do that, there also has to be, what can I just take tomorrow? Especially at a time where our brains are doing this.
Right.
If I don't implement something right away, then that was cool, but I'm not going to remember it until months later.
The thing that I think most districts are missing right now is they're too broad, right? They need an element of here's something you can do tomorrow. Not here's something, okay, you figure out how you're going to use it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that
Absolutely.
right now. Things have completely changed right now. We need to know, we need somebody that we respect, that has, we see them, we know that they are an expert in their field. They're in the classroom doing hybrid teaching, not some guy that has been a TOSA for 5 years and has no idea what it's like to teach online. Coming to us saying, okay, here's a tool for you. This will be great for you. How do you know? You've never taught like this ever, right?
And that's the thing is it needs to be someone who, or something that has, you've done it in the classroom. And that's one thing that I love that my district started doing was we would hold Saturday professional developments. It was once every trimester, and it was all teachers. It was current teachers in the district that would sign up to present on something that they've done in their classroom that's working.
Yeah.
And you
that's
could
that's the whole premise of what we're doing here today.
And that's what you need is you need people who are in it, people who have tried it. Because like I can come up with an idea, but if I've never actually tried, we've all come up with ideas and you do it in class. You're like, that didn't work out.
Right.
So you need things that are tried and true that have been done in the current situation too.
Because it's so unique.
And it's so nice to be like, oh, here's a great project you can do, but you can't do it right now. But hold on to it for when all of this is over and back to normal. Right. And that's not what we need. We need things that you can do, distance, hybrid, in person, all of it.
Right. So coming up, you guys, I have Heather Fisher from A Trailblazing Teacher, also local. So I'm not actually even sure what she's going to teach us, but I'm super excited.
I'm excited too.
I also have Kenzie Southard. You know who that is? She's Miss Southard from TikTok.
Oh,
she has like 2 million subscribers. She's gonna come on, and I don't even know what she's gonna talk about either.
Ah, how exciting!
Exciting, yes. Got some good, incredible teachers coming your way.
Teachers teaching teachers. That's what we need.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys and everything that you're doing out there. Hang tough. Keep on keeping on. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.